Okie dokie. Here I am again. Alright, well, I've been out all morning and day working on the wood chipper. That's right, wood chipper. Let me tell you what an irritating thing. You know, I know it's not a commercial gazillion-dollar machine, but when you spend $250, $350 for a machine, you know, it's very basic in design structure. You don't expect to use it once or twice and then put it, you know, clean it up, put it away, and then go to get it, you know, and then have it not work. Anyway, so what happened? Well, by the way, any of you guys been watching the channel a while, I wear this shirt outside in case I keel over, you know. So if I keel over dead, all I gotta do is look for the orange shirt, and they'll be like, oh, there he is. You know, something happened to him. Yeah. Well, what's the deal though with the chipper? Okay, so I started working on it this morning about 10 o'clock. I tore half of the thing apart because well, first of all, I did not assume that the engine was froze because it was practically brand new, first of all. Second of all, I ran Royal Purple in it. I put brand new Royal Purple in there, and I always use good fresh gasoline, right? So I checked the oil. The oil was full. Still had a purple tinge to it. And could not get the starter cord to pull out. So that meant that the flywheel was not going to turn over, which means that the engine is not going to start, right? So I thought, well, the only thing it could really be is an obstruction. So I looked at it pretty closely, and then I got out tools, put down cardboard, and then I proceeded to take a viewport off, where you could see the inner mechanism off the back. That was 3 wing nuts, okay? They were pretty tight, so I put a little pliers on them, little plier action, and they came right off. Put those aside in a tray, looked inside, nothing was obvious. So I got me a stick, and I went to the side, and I opened up the flap where the stuff shoots out the side. I could see some, you know, some of the mechanism in there. It grinds everything up. So I took the stick and I moved it around a bit, and then I got it to move. So I thought, oh, okay. So I let that go, went to the front of the machine, pulled on the pull start again. It did actually move once, and then it wouldn't move again. It stuck again. So I said, okay, there is wood debris in there somewhere. Okay. So then I started looking closely at the machine again, checking out what all needed to be disassembled to get to that section of the wood chipper without completely going crazy. And you always want to go in stages. You get, oh, okay, this, I need to go a little further, and you always want to make mental notes of what came apart, what went where, and keep your parts together. Of course, most of you already know that. Young kids may not know that, but you know, that's just the way you do it. And you have a tray to keep your nuts and bolts in and stuff, okay? Remember on Christmas Story where the kid's holding the hubcap and then all of a sudden whack and everything, but you just put it on the ground, okay? Put it on the ground, put all your stuff in there. That way it doesn't get lost. It doesn't roll away. Alright. So I took off that viewport. Nothing. Can't determine anything other than something is obstructing movement. So then I was like, well, I'm going to have to take this part off, but to do that I got to take the hopper off, you know, which is the big funnel where you feed down the bigger branches from the top. The little branches go in a small funnel on the front. So, took the hopper off, stowed those nuts and bolts, put the hopper aside. Carefully took off the next layer, okay, because sometimes you will have a bolt from the back and a nut on the outside, which is what I had. It's a nylock nut, but they don't have anything holding the bolt on in the back. You know, that's the people that manufacture things really numbskullery, you know, dumb. There was a situation like that with the 80s Nissan Pathfinder that I had. The transmission, take the thing off, change the transmission filter, and one bolt didn't go back in. There was a nut on the inside, and there was a place inside the, I guess, I don't remember what they call that part. Inside there, it had been pushed out, okay? But that nut set into a place that was exactly the outer side, the outer dimensions of the nut. This is a Nissan thing. It was so that you would be forced to take the Nissan Pathfinder to the dealer if you didn't have the time to fiddle around with it, figure out, take that other next layer off and say, oh crap, you know. Anyway, the mechanic, I took it to the dealer because I didn't have time to mess with it. It was in the 80s. He says, hey, I put the bolt on the inside going out, nuts on the outside. Now you can't mess it up when you change your transmission filter. Get back to the chipper. Yeah, these long stories, right? Getting back to the chipper, I took that next layer of shroud out, probably 10 bolts or more. Anyway, there was no issue. They were all part of the shroud. Took all that, put the nuts aside, put the shroud aside. Now I have all of the chopping mechanism except for the flywheel and the innermost grinding setup. So the coarse stuff, the coarse chopping mechanism is all exposed by now, right? And all of that is attached to a flywheel and whatnot with grinding gears on the other side of that. Well, there was nothing visible in the section where the big grinding cutters were, but I could see there was a hole that was like a slot and a slot and a slot and a slot. So on the inside, I was not going to take it apart any further. Let me just state that. I was like, this is ridiculous. So, on the other side of that, where the smaller cutting teeth were, the flywheel mechanism and all that, there was wood stuck in there. So I went and I got my 6-foot pry bar rock splitter that you saw in the other video where I was using it to move a tree trunk around. I went and got that. It has an end on it that's like a chisel, and the other end is like an anvil for hitting with a hammer. Okay, so it's flat and round on the other side. So I took that and I made sure I wasn't going to hit any teeth, and I wanted to turn the mechanism. So I just got over there, smacked it, and then I smack it over here, and smack it over here, and basically it tore up that wood that was stuck in there. So I did that. I actually went through that sequence like 2 or 3 times and finally got it all broke up. And then, safety crap aside, I went ahead and started the thing with those cutters exposed on the back. There was nothing on the back. I just hunkered down kind of in the front of it. You know, if anything went flying, it wasn't going to hit me. But I got it started. So I got it started, immediately shut it off. And then, once I knew that I could get it started, that there was no more crap that was like hindering that motion, I reassembled everything and I ran it for a while. Anyway, in my gasoline, I put some Marvel Mystery Oil, mixed that in there, shook it up a little bit. You know, the gasoline with the Marvel Mystery Oil, and it was running like a top. So I ran it for a little while. Went and grabbed a tree branch I had cut earlier this morning. You know, just like an inch and a half tree branch. Shoved it in the front. You know, just ground it all up. So yeah, what an ordeal. But it's all done. So don't automatically assume that the engine is seized, even if it's a Kohler engine or a Briggs & Stratton. Don't automatically assume that the engine is seized. You know, I always put my faith when it comes to outdoors equipment. I always put my faith in all the Japanese engines, but sometimes you only have enough money to like go so far with certain equipment because you don't necessarily use it all the time, right? Well, that's it for this video. I'm gonna go and rest a little bit. I've been in the sun all day, and that's about it. So I guess I'll catch you later. Bye for now.